You're the MD and CEO of Kotak Securities. Let's talk more about your CA journey.
I did BCom in Gujarati medium. When I got the CA inter course, everything was in English. And first 6 months actually I learned English and CA both together. And I would have used dictionary more than the calculators.
Which rank did you have in your CA inter?
I think in inter I would have got some 43rd rank.
Oh, lovely.
And final also I stood first or second in Gujarat.
आपकी best and worst investment क्या होगी?
After COVID, you would have seen stock market boom. And that's when I ended up buying a stock of CDSL, I recollect, at 200 rupees at that time. Now I'm sure it is upwards of 1500 after bonus.
क्या आजकल के लोग गलतियां कर रहे हैं?
पहली बात तो आप टिप से इन्वेस्ट न करें. That is the first mistake that everyone does. Second is that when you buy a stock and you end up making some money, you tend to book profit. But जब आप stock buy करते हो और वो नीचे जाता है, then you fall in love with the stock.
What is one feature that you think will benefit a lot of retail investors?
If you are an investor, you are going to get a very good research advisory on the mobile app.
What are some factors to consider before investing in any business?
एक तो फंडामेंटल है, where आप देखते हो कि कंपनी का ग्रोथ क्या चल रहा है, उसका EPS कितना है, what is the P ratio. If you are able to see the growth, but profitability is not coming in, still you can take a call to invest into that.
कैसे AI use हो रहा है, and do you think that it will replace jobs of a lot of people? आज का पॉडकास्ट आपके लिए ट्रेडिंग और इन्वेस्टिंग मास्टर क्लास जैसे होने वाला है बिकॉज वी हैव इनवाइटेड नन अदर देन मिस्टर श्रीपाल शाह हु इज द एमडी एंड सीईओ ऑफ कोटक सिक्योरिटीज. हमने डिस्कस किया उनके बेस्ट एंड वर्स्ट स्टॉक इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के बारे में. हमने डिस्कस किया उनके सीए जर्नी के बारे में, कैसे उनको ऑल इंडिया रैंक मिला था सीए इंटरमीडिएट में. हमने डिस्कस किया ऑन द ट्रेडिंग माइंडसेट, इन्वेस्टिंग माइंडसेट, कैसे कोविड के बाद लोगों का माइंडसेट चेंज हो गया एज फार एज इन्वेस्टिंग इज कंसर्न्ड. एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली, अगर आपको इन्वेस्टिंग करनी है, अगर आपको ट्रेडिंग करनी है, तो हाउ कैन यू ऑल्सो बिकम अ स्मार्ट इन्वेस्टर एंड ट्रेडर एंड मेक मनी फ्रॉम ट्रेडिंग एज वेल एज इन्वेस्टिंग. मेक श्योर to watch this video till the end so that you can also become a smart trader and smart investor. Also, मैं मेरे YouTube analytics check कर रहा था. मैंने देखा कि 82.6% of the audience who's watching this content has not subscribed to my channel. अगर मैंने आपको थोड़ी सी भी value दी होगी तो I'll request you to subscribe to this channel so that it can help us in order to bring the best quality of guests and give you the maximum value possible in the shortest amount of time. Share this video with someone who wants to become a smart trader and investor and enjoy this entire episode of Conversation with Kushal. Can you just tell us the moment when you started investing in the stock markets? What was the trigger point and how did you get into the world of investing?
Actually, I'm talking about 1992 and I actually happened to get into stock market by chance and not by choice. But other way to look at it is born in Marwadi business family and born and brought up in Gujarat. And when I was in hostel in 1992 for CA studies, that's when some of my hostel mates were, filling up IPO forms, and that excited me. And some of the interesting stuff at that time which was going on. You fill up IPO application and you see your stocks going 100x. And one of the interesting thing which happened at that time was I applied in a stock IPO called Nadimuri Bank. It was at just 10 rupees IPO, and I got 200 shares. And on listing it was 1,000 plus, and I was minting 2 lakh rupees at that time in CA hostel days, which was equivalent to, you can say, my father's annual income at that time. And suddenly I became a star, and I realized the power of stock market. Of course, stock tanked after a few days, a few months, but I still made a good money, but good learning. Most importantly, what I learned was that this is a place where you get a thrill. And this is a place where, knowledge meets opportunity. So you get hypes, but at the same time, you need to keep yourself grounded.
So let's talk more about your CA journey. I also come from a CA background, and you said that in your CA journey, you made so much money, which was equivalent to your father's annual income. How did the decision of pursuing CA happen? And secondly, what has CA taught you in general, which is helping you in your day-to-day career?
So yeah, coming from again Rajasthan, Marwadi family, and you would know Rajasthan is called factory of CAs. Yeah. And my father used to tell me from childhood that you have to become a CA. Also, there were not many options at that time which were spoken to, and that became my choice. Another interesting thing which happened was that CA also was a difficult subject and study at that time. I'm not saying it has become easier now, but if I compare, it was more rigorous at that time. It was more in depth that you need to go into it. And that's when I actually was having some doubt whether I can do it or not. And there is very interesting thing which happened in my college days. I was doing BCom, and in second year of BCom, I just roaming around in the college, and I just saw a board on which it was announced that I have stood third in the university in BCom. That's when I realized that, okay, without having any goal, any focus on that, I secured third rank in university, and then why not first? So that actually instilled a self-confidence that actually if you target something and if you put in, you can do it. And that's when then, of course, second and third year, both gold medal that I got. And that also inspired me that, yes, I can do CA. Another interesting thing which happened was that this was in Gujarati medium. I did BCom in Gujarati medium. And when I got the CA inter course, the big bundle of books, everything was in English, and everything was Greek and Latin to me. So actually, I had to start the study with the dictionary in one hand. And first 6 months, actually, I learned English and CA both together. And I would have used uh, dictionary more than the calculators, which is the case for the CA, that you need to use more calculators. So I think these are something, but I had a confidence that I will be able to do it. And again, coming from humble family, failure is not a choice. So you have to put in all you have. And I think once you put in all you have and you have focus, you can do it. So these are some of the things that brought me to CA. And I think it has created a lot of learning throughout, which has helped me in my career. One is a discipline that you can have in terms of your approaches, and that is very important for investing space. Second is structured problem solving skills. How do you go to the depth of the problem and solve it at a root rather than just superficially going towards it? And of course, the fundamentals that you learn, the accounting aspect that you learn, and when you are into investment, you cannot ignore fundamentals. You have to understand what are the numbers telling you. So all these things have shaped my journey into investment as well as into career.
I resonate with this a lot because when I was doing my chartered accountancy and I was staying in a hostel called RVG, Rajasthani Vidyarthi Griha, and there were a lot of Rajasthan students. So I completely agree. Like Rajasthan is like the factory of CS. And secondly, like when I was studying, I really learned how to balance my academic life and my professional life at a very early age. So I started my articleship when I was 18, when I just turned 18, and I cleared my CA when I was 20. I was like one of the youngest CAs of my city as well. But those 3 years, I was able to figure out that morning 7 to 10 a.m. I have to go to the classes. Then I have to go to my articleship, reach office by 10:30, 10:45 a.m., come back by 8:30 p.m., have dinner, and then revise whatever has been taught in the classroom, and then sleep again by 10:30, 11 p.m. because I have to wake up at 5:30, 6 a.m. to go to my classes. This entire routine for 3 long years taught me how to become more disciplined, how to become more patient, and how to maintain the equilibrium between your professional life as well as academic life.
Absolutely, absolutely. That discipline approach actually got me also rank in the inter CA.
Oh,
Again,
wow.
that also was something that I thought that I never targeted. So those are the actually learnings that you have in it in, but you don't know it, and you have to bring it out.
Which rank did you have in your CA
I
inter?
think in inter I would have got some 43rd rank.
Oh, lovely.
And final also I stood first or second in Gujarat. I don't recollect.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yes, yes.
And according to you, like if you were to advise like a lot of CA students watching this video, what were some of the study tips or what were some of the productivity hacks that helped you in order to clear that exam and in order to get an all India rank?
So again, I think there is no alternative to hard work. You have to pursue it with passion and with deep understanding. And another thing which I would actually look at it is you need to look at the fundamentals of the or principles of the accounting, and not necessarily the examples and problems that you solve. I mean, once you are clear about fundamentals, any kind of problem you can solve it. So I think just create a very strong foundation of understanding, and then it is very easy.
Yeah, I think logical understanding and conceptual understanding, that is very important. Let's talk about your influence of mentors or books as far as stock markets is concerned, because you've been in the market since so many decades. So what has been your influence, or maybe what has been like some of the books or some of the mentors that have helped you in order to influence in the stock market journey?
Yeah, I would have read many books. academic as well as non-academic. But I can tell you one thing, Kushal. Market is the biggest teacher, and if you lose money yourself, then it becomes the far more richer learning. So I have lost money initial part of my career, and I have learned lesson hard way. But market has been great teacher, and particularly if I look at my journey of first 15 years of career, which is 1991 to around 2008. In these 20 years, India has seen a lot of accidents and world has seen a lot of accidents. Stock market has seen a lot of accidents. You would have seen 1991, India pledging gold to borrow because it ran out of the forex reserve. 1992, Harshad Mehta scam came out. 1997, NBFC crisis came up. At that time, even Asian currency crisis hit our market. Again, 2001, Ketan Parekh scam hit the market, and further in 2018, great financial crisis. And remember, in this period, uh, when there was a crisis, market tanked, but in between, market surged a lot. So it was like a highs and lows that you touch, and I could see a lot of wealth creation and wealth destruction. And that has taught me a lot of things, that how do you ensure that your capital is protected, and what kind of stock you invest into, and how do you ensure that in a thick and thin those stocks shine.
So also, if we talk about your best and worst investments in the stock markets throughout your career, तो आपकी best and worst investment क्या होगी?
It is very interesting. I mean, first stock that I bought was from Tip, and I made a lot of money. But then after that, multiple tips that I fallen prey to, and I lost a lot of money there. So if you ask me, it is not one. It is multiple time that I would have gotten into tips. A friend will say, double ho jayega, le lo, pakka news hai. And all that stuff, now in the hindsight looks foolish. But yes, some of the tip-based investing where I lost a lot of money. And some of the stocks which worked very well for me were about, believing in the story of the, not stock, but the industry per se. I'll give you example. After COVID, you would have seen stock market boomed, and because of the lockdown, a lot of people had a time, and they started participating in opening big time accounts in stock market, and entire flow in the market surged. And that's when I was just thinking that if everybody's sitting at home and wanting to invest, obviously the market infrastructure institutions like depositories, exchanges, and of course brokerages all will flourish. And that's when I ended up buying a stock of CDSL. I recollect at 200 rupees at that time. Now I'm sure it is upwards of 1500 after bonus. So, and I believe that yes, this is the space which will grow, and I made multi-x return on that over a period of time. But again, one more learning there. Uh, Although I made multi-x learning, but I exited early. You need to be not just booking profit when you are believing in the story. So these are the two things coming to my mind.
And in this case, the main advice would be that don't just follow tips from anyone blindly. Do your own research before investing in stocks. Otherwise,
Correct.
you'll lose a lot of money.
Correct.
These days, a lot of times, tips come on Telegram, tips come on WhatsApp, and a lot of people just start investing because of those tips. And वहाँ पर ऐसे आता है target price इतना होगा, stop loss इतना लगा दो, and then people then end up losing money most of the time.
Absolutely. In fact, what has happened is that post-COVID, the new generation which has come into the stock market, broadly they've seen the linear growth. Anything and everything that you buy ended up giving you some return, and that gives you some false confidence also, or false confidence to some of the tips also. But in last 6 months, if you look at market corrected sharply from October to March, and people lost a lot of money. And actually now that entire learning cycle is completed for the investors, that yes, there is easy money to be made, but if you are not careful, you can lose your certs.
Yeah. If let's say there's a 25-year-old who's watching this video, and if you were to advise them to structure their portfolio in terms of asset allocation and how to build their portfolio from scratch, what would you advise them?
So if I were to look at today's circumstances versus what earlier circumstances that I was having, where you could see first 15 years, I could see a lot of crises hitting the market, and every time wealth destruction happening. Versus today, the markets and economy of India has become far more stable. You have ups and downs, but they are just temporary cycles. The growth is linear, and still, if you look at it even today, the growth is looking very linear in terms of GDP growth. India has just now become fourth largest GDP nation in the world, and it will overtake or become third largest in few years. So I think today you need to have more exposures to equity than what I was having earlier, because equity is going to give us return more than what you are getting from other instruments. So I think single most advice in terms of portfolio allocation would be, particularly to the young investor, is that have more exposure to equity and have a structured investing. Don't try to think that you can make money in 1 year. It's like cricket, right? I mean, you can't make sixes in each over, but if you survive, you can definitely win.
And when you say having more exposure to equity as far as the youngsters are concerned, so is there like a framework? Is there a number that, okay, 50% or 70% of your total net worth should be parked in equities and then remaining can be in debt? Is there a range that you can think of?
Generally, I mean, it depends on your risk appetite and your financials. How much money you are willing to put as a risk capital. And second is, whatever you want to invest in debt is a function of how much liquidity do you need when there are bad times. So I think as long as you are able to put a liquidity aside, which takes care of your some of the emergency expenses, I think everything else you can put in the risk capital depending on your financial capabilities.
There was a rule which I was reading on the internet. It's called as the 100 minus age rule. And what it says is that if I am 26 right now, so 100 minus 26, which is 74, 74% of my portfolio should be in equities and 26% it should be in fixed income, which is like debt mutual funds or corporate bonds, etc. So do you agree with this view or do you have a differing viewpoint?
No, so I completely agree. I think the theme in that principle is that as you grow older, you have a lesser exposure to equity, and when you are young, you have more exposure to equity. Extent to which you want to have it, this rule might not be applicable as a thumb rule, but as a trend, I think this should be followed.
Right. And since you have been in the digital stockbroking industry as well, and you've been right from in this industry from the 90s, how has the stockbroking industry changed from, let's say, the late 90s to today, which is like 2025? What are like some changes which has happened, and what are like some new innovations which are happening in this industry?
It's a journey of a lifetime, I can tell you. In last 20 to 30 years, Indian equity markets and capital market has evolved like one of the best in the India or in the world. I mean, in 1994 to 1998, I mean, you could see stock certificates flying in stockbroker's office, and you had to deliver physical share certificates for every buy and sell. It used to take around 30 to 60 days to get that shares transferred in your name, and there used to be a lot of risk, lot of fake certificates floating in the market. It was completely crazy. You had to beg to a broker to open an account for trading. Now things have become far, far more smoother thanks to the regulators. They brought out a lot of regulations which are not only tightening the transparency and protection for the investors, they also brought out changes and regulation which are more technologically led. For example, entire dematerialization thing, that your shares are now completely held into the demat account, is something electronic holding of a stock, and that has completely created full transparency and remove all the risk on the stock market physical holding. Similarly, I mean, if you look at last 5 years, number of changes have come in the stock market, and some of them very interesting one are, uh, as a client, if you are holding a stock in your demat account, you can technically pledge that to the stockbroker, and the stock still remains into your account. So you have complete visibility of your stock. Earlier, what used to happen, if you recollect, is that when you had to give the stock as a margin to a stockbroker, you had to transfer it to stockbroker, and after that, you don't know whether stockbroker is dealing with it rightly, or whether it is keeping it protected, or it is actually misusing it. SEBI has come out with some of the new technology-led inventions where stock stays into your account, but you are able to create a pledge in favor of a broker. Now, those are like, I don't see anywhere in the world this kind of a transparent mechanism being there. And of course, the entire India stake, which has come in last 5 to 7 years, whether it is Aadhaar or UPI and all these eKYC norms, which has made stock market so accessible. And I think India has used technology very well, thanks to a lot of new digital and new age brokers. And you have seen the complete transformation of Indian capital market, and it has completely changed the investing landscape. It is now easier for investors to enter, stay protected, and keep getting good return.
So how has the investor behavior changed, like before COVID and after COVID, especially given the fact that a lot of retail investors entered this investing ecosystem after the COVID pandemic because they realized the returns which are there in the stock markets. So according to you, like as far as your analysis is concerned, पहले investor behavior कैसा था COVID के पहले and अभी investor behavior कैसा है whenever you interact with retail investors?
So कोविड के पहले तो जो नॉर्मल रिटेल इन्वेस्टर बिहेव करते थे वो थोड़ा गार्डेड डिसीजंस लेते थे, बिकॉज on back of their mind there was always a case that stock market might fall and it is a risky thing. But after COVID and after lockdown and after a lot of digital advancement in the market, I think lot of investors have come in the market. They have got far more risk taking capability. आज today's youth को रिस्क लेने में कोई डर नहीं लगता है. आप फैंटेसी क्रिकेट भी जाते हो, आप क्रिप्टो भी खेल लेते हो, एंड आप स्टॉक मार्केट में आते हो. तो आई थिंक वन थिंग विच हैज चेंज इन द मार्केट इज दैट द पार्टिसिपेंट इन द मार्केट्स आर फार मोर यंगर. India is having median age of 28 years as a young investor, and a lot of them have started in market. So I think you have seen new investors who are more technological advanced. They are more risk takers, but at the same time they are more smart. They actually have access to a lot of information. They go through all the information and then they take their own decisions. So I think the entire way stock market is participated has changed. Earlier, people used to go and just get advice from their financial advisor and try to invest. Today, I think the decision making is completely information led, and people have become smarter.
Yeah, I think it's also thanks to social media, thanks to a lot of people who are like educating the audience on finance, and they are helping a lot of people understand कि mutual funds क्या होते हैं, stocks क्या होते हैं, fundamental analysis क्या होता है, technical analysis क्या होता है. So I think that is helping a lot.
Correct, Kushal. I think social media has also created lot of awareness. Only one thing which is coming to my mind is that how does a investor identify this is a authentic source of information? You can see a lot of vested interest and some of the players who are not adhering to the code of conduct, and that is where I think there is very much need to ensure that you have authentic being separated from the unauthentic one. Once that is sorted, and I'm sure regulator is also taking a lot of steps on that, players like you are also adding to the credibility of some of these authentic content. So I'm sure that once people are able to identify this is authentic source, I'm sure that learning curve will go up.
I think that's the most important decision that any viewer or any retail audience should take before consuming any content, and decide whether they really want to invest this much amount of time to this creator or maybe anyone following on social media. I think that I completely agree with you on that.
Correct.
And if we talk about some of the common mistakes also जो retail investors करते हैं before investing, आपके interactions के basis पे क्या आजकल के लोग गलतियां कर रहे हैं? What are some mistakes they are making, and how can they avoid those mistakes when it comes to investing and becoming a smart investor?
Yeah. I think very interesting and very good questions. Over a period of time, I have come across very specific mistakes that everyone ends up doing, and I would have also done myself some of them. पहली बात तो आप टिप से इन्वेस्ट ना करें. I mean, that is the first mistake that everyone does. Second is that generally I have seen, and it is called retail mentality, is that when you buy a stock and you end up making some money, you tend to book profit. But जब आप स्टॉक बाय करते हो ना वो नीचे जाता है, then you fall in love with the stock. And that is where I see biggest mistake, because बहुत बार आप सही भी होते हो, लेकिन 5 में से 4 आपके कॉल सही गए, लेकिन 4 में आपने बहुत छोटा प्रॉफिट बुक कर लिया, बट 1 में आपको बड़ा लॉस हो रहा है, बट आपने बेचा ही नहीं. So at the end of the day, you have made more losses than profit in absolute terms. So this is one of the biggest mistake, and the learning is that don't book your profits so early if you are confident in the stock, and book your losses. The moment you think that your call or your decision has gone wrong, just accept it and book the losses. I think these are the two things that is very clear. And third thing is that uh, momentum and frenzy and hypes. I think hype में आप buy करोगे and fundamental नहीं देखोगे, then you would lose money. So like you say in cricket, right? Form is temporary, but class is permanent. In market, frenzy is temporary, but fundamentals are permanent. So I look at that way.
Oh, that's a lovely quote. I really like that. That fundamentals are permanent, and the main message that you're trying to give is that don't get too attached to a stock.
Correct.
Basically, अगर वो नीचे भी गया, then you should have like that kind of unemotional attachment, like unemotional thing towards that stock, so that you also maybe sell it and go out of the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just since we're talking about the investing landscape in general, for a salaried individual who's watching this video, तो आपके हिसाब से like what proportion of their monthly income should go into investing? कितना expense होना चाहिए? How can they like budget and allocate their monthly expenses and invest कितना करना चाहिए percentage wise?
There is no thumb rule, Kushal, on this, but as a broad principle, as we said, you should have more and more exposure to equity, whatever your financial permits. And everyone has got different financial situation. You have different level of salary, you have different level of rent, or you don't have rent depending on where you are staying with parent or staying on rented. Again, you are staying in a city, large city, where you are paying big rents versus. So how much liquidity you are making in hand? Just keep aside something for the emergency, and then balance you can invest. So I'm saying I am not able to define a percentage, because percentage is completely not relevant for all together at a go.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I think I agree with that. And when it comes to like analyzing any business or any company, you said that टिप्स फॉलो बिल्कुल मत करो एंड आप खुद का एनालिसिस करो, फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस एक्सेट्रा. आप जब इन्वेस्ट करते हो कोई भी कंपनी में, या तो आपने जब पहले इन्वेस्ट किया था व्हेन यू सेड दैट यू मेड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी इन सम स्टॉक्स एक्सेट्रा, तो एग्जांपल के फॉर्म में एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो दैट आप क्या देखते हो एंड व्हाट आर सम फैक्टर्स टू कंसीडर बिफोर इन्वेस्टिंग इन एनी बिजनेस?
सो दो चीजें, एक तो फंडामेंटल है, वेयर आप देखते हो कि कंपनी का ग्रोथ क्या चल रहा है, उसका ईपीएस कितना है, what is the P ratio, and generally lower the P ratio, you think stock is cheaper. But then there is another interesting principle. A company can be either in a growth phase or in a profitability phase. So in the growth phase, company tend to grow faster without worrying about profitability. So if you are able to see the growth in the company's business metric is very high, but profitability is not coming in, still you can take a call to invest into that. But once company has reached that maturity stage, now that becomes the profitability stage. So when company is into profitability stage, you need to look at more fundamentals. What is the EPS that is generating? What is the dividend that it is paying? And that how much multiple it is translating into. So I think at a growth phase, you look at business metric, and at a profitability phase, you look at fundamentals more.
एंड व्हेन यू से कि जैसे पी रेशियो अगर कम हुआ तो देन दैट इज एन अट्रैक्टिव इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी, बट अगर पी रेशियो पे बात करें, जो प्राइस अर्निंग्स रेशियो, इट इज मोर लाइक अ फैक्टर विच द मार्केट इज गिविंग टू द स्टॉक एंड इट इज नॉट इन आवर कंट्रोल. तो उस पे आप कितना वेटेज देते हो वर्सेस समथिंग लाइक अ क्वालिटेटिव थिंग विच इज द मैनेजमेंट पे कितना बेट लेना है? तो क्या वेटेज होगा इन टर्म्स ऑफ परसेंटेज वाइज कि ओके क्वांटिटेटिव को इतना वेटेज देना चाहिए एंड क्वालिटेटिव को इतना परसेंटेज वेट देना चाहिए?
नो, फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट, आप जो स्टॉक बाय कर रहे हो, you should have 100% confidence in the management. उसमें percentage की बात ही नहीं है. You have to 100% be sure that the management is clean and ethical. After that, then the all weightages come into play. So in my view, there is no X percentage weightage to the management quality. That is the first and foremost. I have seen in my personal examples that company used to generate a lot of good P multiples, EPS, dividend, but management was not clean. And over a period of time, some scam came out, some malpractices came out, and all these numbers were not relevant then. So I think first you need to have a trust in the number, and for that you need to know that management is clean and sound.
Right. And अभी अगर डिजिटल ब्रोकिंग लैंडस्केप की भी बात करें तो what do you think that जो भी ट्रेडिशनल लेगेसी ब्रोकर्स है, लाइक लेट्स से इवन टॉकिंग अबाउट कोटक सिक्योरिटीज वेयर यू आर द एमडी एंड सीईओ ऑफ कोटक सिक्योरिटीज, तो व्हेन विल these players become a digital broker and how are they competing with the new age like digital brokers?
Interesting question. I think first of all, you are asking when will Kotak become the digital player? We are already there. We already have a platform called Kotak Neo, which we have built in last 5 years, completely on the new age stack, and it can be matching any of the digital offerings. Interestingly, what has happened, Kushal, in the industry is that prior to 2018 or so, you had two type of brokerage house in the industry. One where bank-based brokerages, where banks had a subsidiary through which they were giving the brokerage services, and second were other traditional players who were not bank-based but large reputed names. From 2013, 15, 18 onwards, you have started emergence of lot of digital brokers. And those are digital as well as discount brokers. They started with digital first at approach, and they also started with discounting the pricing. And that is when you have seen the third group of players who have come in the market. Of course, many of them have first used the discounting and then digital as a lever to get into the market. So today, three kind of brokers are there in the market. One is the traditional one is the bank-based brokerages, and third is our new digital players. Now, the question for the traditional as well as bank-based brokerage is that can you become digital and can you become discounted? Now, and generally, when you give this question or ask this question, you have discounts in mind and non-digital in mind. So Kotak has already become a digital broker by having a platform. Of course, we have more than 150 plus branches across India. We have got more than 1,000 franchisee locations where relationship services are being advised and given by our dealers and sales out there. On top of it, we have also got Kotak Neo as a mobile app and a platform which is matching any of the best discount broker or digital broker, which is offering the solution. So I think we have already become digital broker. We may not have become the discount brokers.
So how much time did it take for you to become a digital broker, and how was this entire journey or transition from being a legacy traditional broker to becoming like a digital broker in today's era?
Yeah, this is a very relevant question. How does an incumbent transforms into the digital broker? And I can tell you how the journey started. Somewhere in 2018, we were just watching the space and we just realized suddenly UPI is there, Aadhaar is there, online account opening is there, e-commerce was booming, and broking industry was nowhere in terms of all this digital adoption. That's when we just debated that why don't we start from scratch. We had two options. We can also upgrade our technology and make it little better, but that I don't think would be very good option. We thought, we said that why don't we think like digital and build like digital. So what we did was we just created a completely new small unit in a company, and you can say company within a company, and that unit was completely built from scratch in terms of talent. We got tech talent, product talent, marketing talent in that company or that unit completely from outside without having any current team being there. Another thing, consciously we ensured that this team should be completely young, and most of the team members in that team who built this new platform were under 30 years of age. So we consciously ensure that we have got a latest thinking. But just before that, we first thought that we need to change. I think it is very important that you need to first realize that you need to change. So thought process that we need to change was there. And that is how we implemented this small team basically built this on completely new age technology stack. And thanks to them, I also learned a lot of technology jargons, like entire platform is built on Flutter and Golang. It is completely on AWS with microservice architecture, and it has got a lot of agile practices. We have got DevOps, Azure, etc. being in place. So if you look at it, we can make it completely based on the way digital players would have done it. And thankfully, if you ask me, for us it has been an advantage also of a late entry. India also is a late entrant if you look at it in the internet space, where world started with desktop, Then they entered into laptop and they started accessing internet through that, and then mobile came. India just was late in that, so desktop came and directly people just skip the laptops and move to mobile. Now today most internet is accessible through mobile, and that is the advantage also. I think the India is more advanced in terms of mobile adoption and mobile internet consumption than world. So to that extent, we have advantage that we entered late, but we could build the latest technology. And technology changes every 3 to 5 years. So any player who has entered 10 years back and he was digital and advanced at that time would have become legacy now. But now we are on the latest tech. So I can safely say that we are having far better technology as on today on our platform. Of course, we need to keep on upgrading it and changing it.
I'm curious to know, how did you hire these people who were under 30 and how did you build the young team? Where did you source the talent from?
So basically, you're right. I think talent also today asks the question that whom are you going to work with? It is very important for them to know who is the company. Are they like them, and will they learn and enjoy working with them? For that, what we did was, first of all, we said that they will not sit out of our existing office. We just took a separate office, even co-working space, and we said that this team will work out of it. And this team resonate with those cultures. And second, of course, you can give the theme that this is not the traditional broking space that you are joining. You are creating something, and a lot of youth has got this aspiration to create something, and that is when we got a lot of good talent.
Nice. And what's your one favorite feature on the application, or what is one feature that you think will benefit a lot of retail investors who are watching this video?
We have got many interesting features, and in fact, I would not be able to tell one. I would take a liberty to tell few which are relevant to investors as well relevant to the traders. If you are an investor, you are going to get a very good research advisory on the mobile app. That is very interesting for you. If you are a leverage player, where you are little advanced investors, where you want to buy stocks with the leverage, like you pay 25%, 75% is funded by us, uh, and you want to enhance your returns, it requires little more risk management capabilities. Then you have got MTF facility, which is called margin trading finance, on our app, which is available to them.
What is MTF in simple terms?
MTF in simple term is, suppose you want to buy a stock worth 1 lakh rupees today. What do? You go and give 1 lakh rupees to a broker and you buy 1 lakh worth of stock. Now you say that I have only 25,000 rupees, but this stocks looks very interesting and exciting to me because I believe in the story. And I have got only 25,000. How can I buy it? So basically you pay 25,000 to broker, you buy stock worth 1 lakh rupees, balance 75,000 broker funds, and on which they charge interest. So it is basically buying a stock with a loan. And interestingly, a lot of bank-based brokerages, including us at Kotak Neo, we are able to offer very attractive rate of interest. Like you can borrow as low as 9.75% to buy such stocks. So this is the MTF facility.
Okay. And you were talking about other features also.
Yes. So these are for the investors. And if you are a young investor, then we have also sweetened the offerings in terms of giving a young investor a very attractive pricing. If you are under 30, are you, Kushal?
Yeah. I'm 26.
Then I am sure that one of the best offering that we have put on Kotak Neo is trade free youth plan.
Oh.
When you come on Kotak Neo, you get zero brokerage offering on deliveries, and you get 10 rupees per order on derivative and trading, which is again, you can say, half of what most of the digital players are offering. So this is one of the best plans for the young investor that we offer. We have recently launched a section called Kotak Stock Sala, and in which we are offering fundamental and advanced technical courses to young investors who wants to start from basic to the advanced Greeks of options. All these courses are made available on that, and that is made completely free. So basically, the way we want to look at it is that if youth were to start investment journey in Kotak, they should be able to get good pricing, they should be able to get good support in terms of research, and they should be able to also learn as they invest. So all this capability we have built in for the youth, and this is available only if you are below the age of 30. That's the reason I asked you, if you are below age of the 30, you have got one of the best deals available here. There are a lot of trader facing features that we have built, and I can go on and go on, but some of the very interesting features which have come. See, what is interesting for a trader? What does a trader look at it? Of course, trader looks at speed of execution. It should be fast. That of course it is available. But what are the other um, tools available for him to be able to take decision faster, manage his risk better? So we have got one feature called strategy bot, where as a derivative trader, you can place multi-legged orders in one click. For example, you want to create a straddle or a strangle, and you want to put 4-leg order. You don't have to keep on placing 4 orders separately, because when you do that, you lose some time and there is some slippage. Here, technically, you can go to that strategy bot, put that I want to do this straddle at 50 rupees. And all 4 legs of the orders will get executed when the all 4 legs are culminating into 50 rupees as a payoff. So this is one interesting thing where you are able to put 4-leg order with the final outcome that you want to have. Second, you can put a stop loss here, that I want to exit this entire straddle if my loss exceeds this much. So that is another thing that we have built. And third thing is that we have put a global exit. Suppose you have created 4 or 5 various straddles and strangles and multiple strategies are going on. And at that time, you want to say that I want to just exit all the strategy. If my total profit or loss is this much, it is called global exit. That also you can specify and all position will get exited there. Suppose you think you are little bit addicted to trading, or you want to pause, or you want to say that, okay, today I have made this much money, I don't want to trade any further. You can use our kill switch offer, where you just switch the kill, enable the kill switch for the day, you will not be able to trade. It is like just to restrict you, from addicting behavior. Another interesting thing is trade from chart. Today, the way it works is that if you are reading chart and you are trading, you have 2 screens. On chart, you will see these are the triggers. Then you go to another screen and you place a trade. Here we have put a trade from chart where you can just simply in the chart itself, you can do buy and sell. So a lot of interesting features for the traders are also built on the Kotak Neo platform.
So when we talk about trading, I was reading the report of SEBI, which mentioned that 93% of the people who do trading, they make up losses, and only 7% of the people make profits. And even in those 7%, the amount which people made on an average was very less on a per annum basis. So why do you think that so many people are making losses when it comes to trading? And what is 1 or 2 pieces of advice you'd like to give them so that they can also fall in the 7% bracket?
Yeah, that's very interesting one. You are right. A lot of people end up making losses, and maybe a lot of them actually are paying tuition fees. When you do start trading, you end up making some losses. But if you learn from there, you can actually turn into advanced traders. So of course, this 7 to 10% of people who are making money they would have also lost money initially. It's not that you are born profit maker, correct? Another thing is that, as I said earlier, if you are able to put risk management and discipline approach and keep your emotions aside, I think you can become a successful trader. Another thing which I have noticed is that, and in fact, I recollect one famous quote from Nassim Taleb, who has written in his book Black Swan, is that option selling is like a penny picking against the steam roller. Every day you keep on selling options, you get some money, you pocket that money. But in case of very big accident in the market, you lose your certs. So unless you have put your protection in place, every day what you have made, you will lose it. So I think for option trader, another thing very important is the risk management. Whatever strategy you are playing, are you having the wings on your losses? Means that suppose you are selling options, you need to also ensure that there is a hedge created on out of the money option always, so that in the worst case scenario, in the black swan event, your losses are bearable. You need to survive this market to be able to make money over a period of time.
So you're trying to say that hedging strategy should always be in place, and you should hedge your bets no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Right. And if we talk about passive versus active investing also, what's your view for the retail audiences when it comes to passive investing versus active investing. Firstly, like what exactly is the difference between these two terms? And secondly, a retail investor who's watching this, what should he focus on, retail, passive or active investing?
So two ways you can look at it, Kushal. Passive and active actually can be understood in two contexts. One is that if you are actively directly participating in the stock market versus if you are taking a mutual fund route, where it is called passive and you are directly doing it is called active. So that is one way you can look at it, is that whether you are active or you are passive. Another way you can look at it is that when you are investing into mutual fund, are you investing into the schemes which are managed by the fund manager, then which is called active, or are you investing in the mutual fund scheme which are basically tracking the index? There is no fund management discretion possible, and that is also called passive. So if you go into the mutual fund industry space, where a lot of money is going into passive worldwide, over a period of time, it is established that passive and active, the difference in the rate is not much, because active is managed by the fund manager, passive is tracking the index. Most importantly, the cost is very less in passive. And that's why if you end up investing into a index mutual funds, which is passive, your cost ratio is very low and that compounds your return faster. In terms of other angle, that whether you should do direct investment in stock versus mutual fund, my suggestion would be that it should be both. And the way you graduate in your investment journey is you start with mutual fund first, understand the investment behavior, and then over a period of time start tracking equity as a sector, and then you start directly investing to stock. So over a period of time you graduate from, say, mutual fund to stock, and then maybe over a period of time you graduate into advanced investor in terms of leverage, and then you can graduate into derivatives, commodity derivatives, equity derivatives, etc. So it's a journey.
And this industry is very regulated also, and this has a lot of challenges in terms of the regulations changing multiple times. So how has the regulations changed in the last few years, and what are some regulations that people who are watching this video should know of, so that they also, when they are investing through, let's say, platforms like Kotak Neo, they should also keep in mind that okay, ये regulations है जो मुझे affect कर सकते हैं future में.
एक चीज बहुत अच्छी हुई है कुशल, दैट जो भी रेगुलेशंस आए वो इन्वेस्टर्स के बेनिफिट में है. So any regulation which has come, it is always better for the investors, and so many of them have come, which has made the participation in the stock market transparent, friction free and safe. So I think investors को ज़्यादा regulations का वरी नहीं होना चाहिए. हाँ, there are some regulations which have come on cooling down the F&O volume, right? Derivative trading in retail was very hype in first 6 months of last financial year, where SEBI has come out with some of the measures to cool down that. But that, I think, is a very right thing at a macro level. It doesn't impact individual investor. Yes, it impacts the very small investor or trader who were doing option trading or derivative trading, where lot size was small, which is increased. So I think the thought process at a regulator end is that you need to have a sufficient capital to be trade into derivative, rather than you doing very small derivative bets and not having enough capital.
And what are some examples of regulations when you said that it is always in the benefit of investors?
Yeah, so I'll give you some examples. Like first, couple of years back, SEBI came out with upstreaming regulation. What does that mean? That as an investor, if you give your money to stockbroker as a margin money, broker has to ensure that at the end of the day, all this money goes to the clearing corporation. Broker cannot keep any money in its bank account at the end of the day. So one, your money doesn't have to sit in the broker's book. It has to be there in the clearing corporation. Another thing which has come is direct payout. Today, what happens is when you buy a stock and you pay for it, earlier the stock used to come to the broker and broker used to transfer it to the client. But momentarily it was with the broker, and broker had a discretion where to transfer or where to not transfer. But with the direct payout which has come in February, as late as February 25, you buy a stock, you pay for it, stock comes to you directly from clearing corporation to your demat account. So these are some of the path breaking regulation. Of course, that means that depository, clearing corporation, broking firm and exchanges have to have technological integration. That is already achieved in this market, and this is not there anywhere in the world. And that is why you feel far more safer to participate in the market.
So इसमें algorithm based trading जो होता है वो भी I think that is because of the technological impact which is there. So what exactly is algo based trading and how is this also, let's say, competing with the other traditional players which are there in the market?
So algo based trading दो तरह के होते हैं. एक तो होते हैं कि where you put some logic in the computer program and computer program executes that algos. It is called algorithm based trading. And दूसरा एक algorithm ट्रेनिंग होता है जहाँ पे आप हाई फ्रीक्वेंसी ट्रेडिंग करते हो, वेर आप बहुत सोफिस्टिकेटेड सर्वर्स एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंस्टॉल करते हो, एंड यू large number of orders are sent at a very small frequency. So it is called HFT, high frequency trading, and low frequency trading. जो ग्लोबल लॉट ऑफ HFT फर्म्स है वो हाई फ्रीक्वेंसी ट्रेड अल्गोज के थ्रू करते हैं. उनको अल्गो का अप्रूवल मिलता है और उसके बेस पे वो ट्रेडिंग करते हैं एंड दे प्ले द मार्केट. नाउ व्हाट सेबी हैज कम आउट रिसेंटली इज दैट why should that be only available to large firms? Today, our youth and our investors are also far more technologically advanced. They can also use computer program to do trading. And that's when the new regulation which has recently come on algo trading, which will regularize the trading. Algo-based trading was happening in the market, but it was not fully regulated. Some of the firms who were offering these algos were not necessarily in the ambit of the regulation. Now with this, there is a proper framework in place where even algo trading by retail through API would be regulated, and there will be better safety and security of investors' money and trading.
And isme, what's one market myth that you think traders are still falling for?
Traders, again, myth. If I say it is myth or no, I don't know. But I think one tendency that I have seen is that traders look at their past behavior to analyze whether they are expert or no. And the moment you start making some money, don't think you are a god, because market is far complicated than what you think. In short term, some things have work for you doesn't mean that that is the eternal truth. So I think you need to keep tweaking and adjusting to the market forces.
What do you think about artificial intelligence taking over in this industry? तो कैसे AI use हो रहा है, and do you think that it will replace jobs of a lot of people, especially in the investing or the trading ecosystem?
One, AI as a space is going to change the entire landscape. I personally believe that what will happen, I can't predict, but the capabilities are immense. And already we have seen some of the things that is being implemented at our end, at broking industry or like financial services, but those are just scratching the surface. I mean, we would have done various POCs on various sites, but it's going to completely change it. But only thing, what I think, it is not going to be instead of human. I think AI and human is not competing against each other. AI will have to work with the human. AI will be bringing the technology, and human has to bring in the logics, empathy, emotions, and ideally, human has to work with AI and not against the AI.
Can you give some examples of some AI initiatives that you are doing at your organization?
Yeah, many of them. First and foremost, we have started ensuring that AI is used by all the employees to increase the productivity. So a lot of them open source AI models are given to them to just use it their day-to-day work. Second is that we have started using some sentiment analysis, AI-based sentiment analysis in our contact center, where some text-to-speech mechanism and AI-based sentiment analysis is being done. Another important thing we have just recently gone live is the AI-led result summary. The moment your companies announce the result and your analyst call is over, based on that, the full summary of that result is being placed on that. And on the software or technology side, we have already started using AI to help our developer code. We have already taken the license for Copilot Hub, GitHub, and that again, all these are experiments, but results are very encouraging.
Any top 2-3 AI tools that you are using yourself on a day-to-day basis in your work or in your personal life?
I use Copilot, I use ChatGPT, I have started using Clade, Manos. I like to experiment. I would have also installed DeepSeek and see how they are different. Grok is also available. I have experimented all, and I can tell you, space is so interesting, and it is changing very fast.
How was your experience with Manus and Grok?
What I like Manas was, I think it tells you a lot of things how AI thinks. You are able to even understand how they work, and that is fascinating.
Yeah, so I mean, I saw one of my friends, he used Manus for creating like an AI agent which will shop from Amazon, and all you have to do is just tell that agent that, okay, I want to shop this material from Amazon and just order it for me. And it'll like just go on Amazon, click the main product which is there, buy it, put your address and place the order within like less than a minute also. And that agent is basically doing everything. So one is AI, one is AI agents. AI is basically tools like ChatGPT, etc. And AI agents are where you are basically replacing the workflow entirely. If let's say I want to reach out to my podcast guests and I tell Manas that, okay, reach out to 50 people, write an email to them. This is my format, customized email for every one of them, and send emails to all 50 people. It'll do that also. It'll take some time, but it'll find out the emails and send emails to all 50. I was just shocked by this.
Interesting. This is called agentic AI.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Yeah.
So all these AI agents are now coming up, and I think the space is booming a lot.
Correct.
And this last question, which I ask all my guests, so this is a tricky one. If you are in the shoes of Kushal, Lodha, and if you are interviewing Mr. Shripal Shah, what is one question you would like to ask him towards the end of the interview?
I would definitely ask someone who has more experience and who is also a fellow CA, is that what are things that you would avoid doing to become successful?
That's a very good question. So what are some things you will avoid doing to become successful?
I don't have answer to this. I said I would have asked this question, but let me again attempt it.
Yeah.
One thing, I think you could take more risks in your life, which you have already taken. I think you have said you have joined corporate life and you have taken entrepreneurial route, which you have already done. So this is one advice, that I think keep taking bets and go bold.
And that's a very, very good piece of advice. Thank you so much for doing this. It was super interesting to talk to you. We got to learn a lot about the investing ecosystem and what's happening in the digital broking industry as well. And wish you the best with your Kotak Neo platform as well. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of traders and a lot of investors out there.
Thank you so much, Kushal. Pleasure was all mine.
Yes, thank you very much. अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आया होगा तो आई रिक्वेस्ट यू टू शेयर इट विद ऑल योर फ्रेंड्स एंड सब्सक्राइब टू आवर चैनल सो दैट वी कैन गिव यू मोर वैल्यू एडिटिव कंटेंट इन द शॉर्टेस्ट अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम. हमको ये बताइए कि आपको कौन से काइंड ऑफ गेस्ट चाहिए. हमको ये बताइए कि कौन से क्वेश्चंस मुझे नहीं पूछने चाहिए थे, कौन से क्वेश्चंस मुझे और पूछने चाहिए थे ताकि आपको और ज्यादा वैल्यू मिल सके, और कौन से ऐसे पार्ट्स है जो आपको बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं आए ताकि हम लोग ये पार्ट स्ट्रीम कर सके फ्यूचर एपिसोड्स में. सो थैंक यू सो मच वंस अगेन फॉर वॉचिंग दिस एपिसोड एंड कीप शेयरिंग ऑल आवर एपिसोड्स विद योर फ्रेंड्स एंड कीप गिविंग अस फीडबैक सो दैट वी कैन इंप्रूव एंड कम अप विद बेटर क्वालिटी कंटेंट.